The wind on this rooftop 48 floors above London is precisely 7 degrees Celsius. It is a cold, honest wind. I am looking at a digital cadastral map, a grid of glowing lines representing power, representing territory. Most people look at a house and see a home, a sanctuary. I look at it and I see legal stratigraphy and the crushing gravity of greed. My parents believe they deleted me. They believe a signature on a deceptive file and a single freezing New Year's Eve was the end of the audit. They are wrong. In architecture, the foundation is not the brick. It is the ownership of the dirt beneath it, and they are currently standing on a fault line that I am about to trigger. 18 months ago, the family estate. The air inside the great hall smelled of expensive pine and the sulphurous stench of my sister's ambition. It was New Year's Eve. The countdown had begun, but not for the year. For my exile. I sat at the mahogany table holding a folder I believed was for the preservation of the West Wing. My father did not look at me. He looked at Seraphina, who was already posing for a selfie in front of the 16th century fireplace. "Sign it, Sloane," my mother said. Her voice was a thin, sharp wire. "Seraphina is the face of this legacy. She has the followers. She has the vision. You just have the dirt under your fingernails." I signed. I trusted the blood more than the fine print. A rare and final error in judgment. 5 minutes later, the heavy oak doors slammed shut. The snow was coming down in jagged white shards. I stood in the driveway, my breath hitching in the sub-zero air. My father had thrown my leather portfolio into the slush. The blueprints, years of my structural research, scattered like the bones of a dead bird. Inside the lights were gold. I could hear the muffled pop of champagne and Seraphina's high melodic laughter. They were celebrating the Seraphina Palace, a hotel for the elite, built on the corpse of my heritage. I did not cry. Tears are a structural weakness, an inefficient use of moisture. I knelt in the snow, and I picked up my drawings, en béton. I smoothed the paper, feeling the grit of the ice against my skin. I looked up straight into the lens of the security camera mounted above the archway. I had installed that system myself. I knew the blind spots. I knew the frame rate, and I knew that I was the only person in that family who understood exactly how the electricity entered the building. I offered the camera a single cold smile. They chose to evict an architect so they could make room for a surface decorator. It was their first and most fatal technical error. 2 years of absolute clinical silence. To a human, it is an eternity of resentment. To an architect, it is merely the time required for the mortar to dry and the structural rot to settle. I did not spend these 24 months in exile. I spent them in the deep cold gears of a London real estate fund. I do not spend my income on designer clothes or digital fame. I live on 20%. The other 80 I siphon back into the earth. I buy leverage. I buy the silence of neighboring farmers. I buy the shadows that surround the Preston name. While they celebrate their vision, I am calculating the precise moment of their collapse. On my second monitor, the chaos is constant. Seraphina is live streaming again. She is standing in the great hall wearing a dress that costs more than a roof repair. She is holding a gold-plated sledgehammer. "Out with the old," she screams. Her voice is a jagged, frantic noise. "We need more light for the selfie suite. This stone is so depressing." I watch as the hammer hits a 500-year-old supporting wall. I do not flinch. Every strike is a gift. Every crack she creates in the historical masonry is another nail in the legal coffin I am building. She calls it modernizing. I call it vandalism of a Grade 1 listed asset. My parents are in the background holding champagne flutes, their faces tight, with the artificial glow of 1,000 ring lights. They are hemorrhaging cash. They are drowning in a sea of high-interest credit, taking out bridge loans to pay for velvet curtains, while the foundation beneath them begins to scream. A vibration on my desk. A text from my mother. She doesn't ask how I am. She doesn't ask where I live. "Sloane, we need you to sign the insurance verification for the West Wing renovations. The bank is being difficult vs structural integrity. Just a signature. For the family." I look at the message for a long time. The arrogance of the predator who doesn't realize they are already in the trap. I type my response. My fingers are steady, the rhythm of a surgeon. "You call this insurance, Mother. I call it cremation fees for a dead legacy. Tell Seraphina to enjoy her pink paint while she can. That paint will peel before the truth begins to speak." I do not wait for a reply. I block the number. I turn off the lights in my office. The city of London is a grid of shimmering distant fires. I sit in the dark, the only light coming from the 12 fragments of cadastral maps spread across my desk. I have spent 700 days piecing this puzzle together. Fragment 1. The South Parking Lot. Fragment 6. The only trail leading from the main road to the castle gates. Fragment 12. The forest surrounding the transformer station and the underground water tank. 12 fragments. 12 links in a legal noose. I lean in closer, my eyes tracing the blue lines of the utility easements. They own the castle. They own the stone. They own the vanity. But as I overlay the final map, the truth is absolute. Every drop of water that enters their faucets, every watt of electricity that lights Seraphina's stage, and the only road their guests can drive on it, all sits on my dirt. They are landlocked. They are suffocating in a vacuum of their own making. They just haven't realized that the air is about to be cut off. The spring is now compressed to the absolute limit. Tomorrow, the hotel opens, and tomorrow I return to collect the debt. The red carpet is an efficient, shimmering lie. It is the grand opening of the Seraphina Palace. International cameras. Champagne that costs more than a roof. Seraphina stands at the summit of the stairs draped in gold silk, her smile a perfectly calibrated algorithm of vanity. She is the queen of a kingdom, built on a structural breach. My parents stand beside her, their faces flushed with the wine of a triumph they stole in the snow. I enter through the main gates. I do not wear a gown. I wear a tailored obsidian suit. I do not carry flowers. I carry a court-mandated asset freeze order and a legal team that moves with the rhythmic, heavy precision of a firing squad. I do not shout. I walk through the center of their red carpet. The security guards attempt to move, but my lead counsel raises a singular white document. The perimeter belongs to the state now. I reach the foot of the stairs. Seraphina's laughter does not just stop. It breaks. Sloane? What is this theater? She demands. Her voice is a jagged, frantic noise. Get out of the frame! You're ruining the shot! I look at her. I look at the pink-painted stone. I look at the destroyed history. The shot is already ruined, Seraphina. My voice is a level, horizontal line. I turn to the cameras. I turn to the investors. As of 30 minutes ago, this building was officially reclassified as a Grade 1 listed monument. Every pink wall, every selfie suite, every structural modification my sister has made is no longer a vision. It is a documented criminal act of vandalism against a national heritage asset. The crowd gasps. My father's glass hits the marble. Clang. The police are already at the rear entrance, I continue, but that is merely the forensic part of the evening. Now we discuss the geometry. I tap a button on my tablet. Outside, at the edge of the driveway, the heavy thud of metal hits the ground. My team of contractors begins to unroll the wire. You own the castle, father. I say it while looking into his terrified eyes. But as I told you in the Snow Foundation's matter, I have spent 18 months acquiring the 12 cadastral plots that surround this property. The only road in, the only road out, and the utility easements for your water and power sit on my dirt. I signal the foreman. The sound of the post drivers' thump, thump, thump echoes through the ballroom. They are erecting a 3-meter industrial barbed wire fence directly across the red carpet, directly across the only exit. Sloane, stop this! My mother screams. She rushes to the edge of the terrace, her diamonds shaking. We are your blood. You can't do this to your family. Have you no heart? I look at her. I observe the structural decay of her desperation. Do not raise your voice, mother. My tone is a cold, sharp blade. Noise does not alter the cadastral coordinates. Logic does not recognize the variable of blood when the contract has been breached. You chose to protect a surface decorator. I chose to protect the ground. I take a step closer. You own the stone. I own the space around it. As of this moment, you are residing illegally on my atmosphere, and I am hereby revoking your permit to breathe my air. I press the final key on the screen. Click. The crystal chandeliers flicker, then die. The music vanishes. The pumps for the infinity pool stop. The palace, the gold, the vanity, it all plunges into a total, absolute void. The guests are scrambling in the dark. Seraphina is sobbing on the stairs, her gold dress dragging in the dust of her failed empire. My parents are on their knees, begging for a gate to open. I do not offer a hand. I turn my back on the ruins. I walk toward my car, the only vehicle allowed on the road. I pause at the door. I adjust the collar of my blazer, feeling the cold, honest wind of the London night. I look at the dark, isolated cage I have built for them. This path, it is not for those who have forgotten the way home. I step into the car. The audit is closed.